Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Zach, and today I want to look at the VeVeVerse because I've seen some interesting videos popping up recently around it, and I also want to give a bit more of my own take on VeVeVerse stuff. I want to be going through other stuff too, but it's taking a little while to actually make those videos as far as like getting the notes and the points and the scripts that I want to get done. That being said, right now OMI is down 10% on a 24-hour cycle. The low is 0.004284 and the high right now is 0.005284. But what I have learned after doing a lot of research more recently is don't get too worried about that stuff necessarily. It's all about the use case, and that's what I'm interested in right now. So that's what we're going to have a look at. Thankfully, HelloK has made an interesting video about the VeVe updated trademark filing that I want to go through with you. And I also want to have a talk about why the VeVeVerse could actually be really exciting and actually quite important to OMI's price. Let's jump into what HelloK has to say about the updated trademark filing, and then I want to go over exactly the creative behind the VeVeVerse.
Go straight into it now. VeVe, they have a few licenses that they've a few trademarks they've licensed for. So initially they did license back at the start, 2019 for example for VeVe, and then 2020 for VeVeVerse, so last year, and they've refiled for these, I believe partly to do with they want to conform with legislation, specifically regarding the whole kind of digital space, because we do know, I've been going on about this, that there's been a lot of changes in terms of legislation within the crypto area. This is also one of the major points why I think OMI will do well, is the fact that when this legislation starts rolling in, when the SEC starts clamping down on all these kind of scammy projects, all of that money is going to get pulled out of these, rug pull kind of projects. And that money is going to end up flowing back into the projects that do survive, and ECOMI will be one of those. So let's just have a look. And
of course, not financial advice, but that's what a lot of us are seeing for sure.
See what they've done. So previously they didn't provide that much information, or actually if we go back, I'll just show you guys. So this was the original filing for VeVeVerse. There's really not that much information there. However, in order to file for their licensing, the trademarks, they need to provide really specific information. So I think this is why they refiled it. And if we look now for VeVe, for example, you can see just how much information they have now.
So this is quite the difference. If we go back a little second, and this is what Kay was saying, is that essentially this was essentially the first description for the first trademark, or at least one of the first trademarks from what I'm understanding. However, they've clearly updated it based on what Kay is saying here for all of these different things. We have digital collectibles, digital tokens, digital files, financial transactions, images, sound recordings, video recordings, and visual objects, including the fields of children's games and entertainment, software as a service, SaaS of course, for providing access to viewing and display of transmission or publication of, etc, etc, etc. Now, obviously, stuff like this makes me very excited, including the field of children's games and entertainments, because we have actually already looked at this, and in fact, this is going on to a completely different point to a certain extent, but it is important, and we've actually spoken about this in the last video that I will hopefully have posted by the time you're watching this, is that it is likely that we could see these brands based on seeing Jeremy Padowa's involvement potentially in ECOMI, and the fact that he is a partner of Jazzwiz, a subsidiary of Allegheny Capital Corporation. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, by the way, but it is potential that we're going to see Fortnite, Roblox, and of course a lot of you already know that there are a lot of very legacy brands, Halo, Nerf, etc, that likely will come onto VeVe's marketplace.
So if we just quickly go through this, so now they have said that VeVe trademark will be used in the following business: downloadable software for providing access to, viewing and display of, creation of, transmission of, publication of, storage of, management of, transfer of, swapping of, spending of, purchasing of, selling of, retailing of, wholesaling of, verification of, authentication of, communication of, digital collectibles, digital tokens, digital files, digital currency, financial transaction, data files, images, sound recordings, video recordings, virtual objects, including in the fields of children games and entertainment, downloadable augmented reality software, for integrating electronic data with real world environments for use in the field of, and then it just goes on. So they've basically got,
and that is very exciting, because especially if you've listened to Trevor Dyert's interview, in fact we have it right here with Jake. This is a lot of what he's spoken about regarding being able to put Jurassic Park dinosaurs into your living room or into your garden or into some sort of field, or drive a DeLorean around in the car park or whatever. That's essentially what this can look like. specifically downloaded augmented reality software for integrating data with real-world environments for use in children's games, etc. So very exciting AR stuff going on there.
And they've literally covered all their bases. They're following, all legislation to a T. And not many cryptocurrency projects are this legit. When that legislation starts rolling in, that's when you'll see, which projects it is that have credibility. And I like how they specified, that VeVe is going to be in terms of platform as a service and software as a service. So what this implies to me is they are looking heavily at kind of having all of your data, everything managed within the cloud, the application in the cloud. And I think that's the best way to go in terms of security, in terms of scalability. They thought about everything and they are implementing it. Now, if this was for VeVe, if we have a look at VEVEVERSE, so if we just go back. Now, this is probably the first kind of patent filing I've seen, which has a bit more information in terms of VEVEVERSE. So they talk more about, again, covers the same stuff, digital currency, financial transactions. I believe they also cover games as well. Let's see. For integrating electronic data with real-world environments for use in children's games and entertainment, advice, consultancy, recordings, virtual objects. Okay. Covers pretty much the same same universe as what VeVe is covering in terms of what the platform is going to be covering, and just
essentially what the trademark is based on, essentially, from what I'm understanding.
What kind of class info they need to provide as well, because they are within the scientific and technology services area, scientific, surveying, photographic, cinematographic, optical weighing. Okay, so they basically kind of describing exactly what their patent relates to. So I think this is good. They've gone ahead, they've complied with any additional updates that they need to provide in terms of that legislation. So I think that ECOMI won't have any issues moving forward. Now, along with that, I did then have a look at this documentation here. So this is from last year, 2020. It's the top 150 global licensors. And here we can actually start to add a dollar value to exactly what ECOMI's partnerships are going to be worth. So,
and this is what we've looked at already regarding what we've already seen regarding these different licensors and who has worked and who is going to be working and who is already working with VeVe. We already know that Hasbro is working with VeVe on the fact that Ghostbusters here. We know that Viacom CBS is working with VeVe on the fact that we actually had that announcement back like last year, I believe. So there we have CBS right here, Cartoon Network, Star Trek, Suzuki, Capcom, Warner Bros, DC Collectibles. Of course, we've seen DC Collectibles already with Harley Quinn. We've seen Batman. And essentially what we've seen already is that half of these, thanks to Taps Trades as well for bringing this to our attention, half of these, as far as the top 10, 50 companies, are already working with VeVe.
All the biggest, their retail sales from 2019 were 54.7 billion.
Keeping in mind that, of course, the Walt Disney Company owns Marvel. Marvel, of course, is an alleged, most likely, potential licensee coming to VeVe, where we'll see some actual Marvel collectibles. Of course, that will probably drive the price up to a certain extent. It all depends on how the hype goes, how they market it, etc. Of course.
Get that, Disney partnership, ECOMI could capture a small fraction of that, and considering their market cap is below 1 billion, that's going to add a lot of valuation. Warner Media as well, we know we have that. This one's really cool. I didn't expect General Motors to be 9th place as a licensor. So 4.6 billion on there. Now, Pokemon Company is actually 11th. Sanrio is above them. Hasbro is above them. Hasbro, I believe David Yu's company has this as well, which is pretty cool. So as you go down, we've got some other ones. I know they're expanding into anime as well. So if we have a look and see which anime kind of licensor is kind of top in here, is Toei Animation, 3.9 billion. Very, very close revenue.
Okay, so now I actually didn't look at Toei Animation before, so we're looking at it now. Toei announces new Dragon Ball Super film releasing 2022, so my guess is that they own the rights to Dragon Ball. Now, I haven't seen anything confirming that Toei will be working with VeVe, but I do know that a lot of these brands are already working with VeVe. The likelihood is that if they've managed to work with, say, the Walt Disney Company, if they've managed to work with Warner Media, if they've managed to work with Universal Brand Development, Hasbro, Viacom CBS, General Motors, of course, Sanrio, and I believe Pokemon is currently under speculation, but essentially if they already have some of the top companies already, I doubt that Toei would say no. I mean, I don't know, to be fair, but it could be that we see Toei Animation come, and therefore we would have Dragon Ball come as NFTs potentially.
To Pokemon Company. And we can keep going down. They have Ferrari on here, NFTs, and one of those was the TARDIS from Doctor Who. So I believe they have BBC Studios already. They just haven't officially announced it, but I've definitely seen the model for that on their own YouTube channel, actually. I'll try and find it. But do have a look at their older videos. You should be able to find it yourself on the...
So in that case, they have BBC Studios already. I actually spoke about that in the last video as well. Of course, they do run, I believe, Doctor Who, and I think Sherlock is also part of BBC Studios, which means we could see some sort of Sherlock NFTs come up some point.
The official ECOMI YouTube. And then we go down, we go into kind of luxury brands, Ralph Lauren.
So that is a great video from Hello K. They also go over loot boxes, but I want to talk about that a little bit later. Now, I want to go over what Jake and Trevor were talking about regarding essentially getting the NFTs to interact with each other, work with each other, and essentially build the VEVEverse, which we're also going to go over some more stuff about this, not just on this video though. Let's take a look.
Can I ask you a question on that as well? Because I've seen some comments from people. Actually, one of the, like, I posted a tweet and said, hey, what questions should I ask Trevor? And someone asked me, hey, in the future, is it going to be possible to have our NFTs play together? Like, can I have my Ultraman, driving my DeLorean? Or is that a separate conversation? Like, you have to get approval from the licensors to make that happen? Or is that just if you own the licenses and the IP like you guys do, can you make that happen within your VeVe app?
That is actually, it's everything. It is a licensing question. I'm not the licensing expert in here, but that's you guys will have to, and I'm throwing him under the bus. You're going to have to bug Dan and David for that one about on the licensing side. But like from a content perspective, the actual mechanics of pulling that off are they're fairly complicated, because it's like I describe it as like almost like an n squared problem, which is like if you want all this stuff to interact with each other, every time you add something new to that system, it has to work with everything else in the system. You have to test it and make sure it works against everything else in the system. It becomes really, really complicated really quickly, because you can imagine all those connections. I think if I were to approach building this, what I would be more interested in is how do I make each individual collectible that we're delivering just go way deeper in terms of the amount of like what it can do, in terms of the functionality of what it can do on its own, not in interacting with other things. Because as soon as you start interacting with other things, it gets really complicated. And then if I'm doing that, then I would look at, okay, then what's the larger system it sits in? Yeah. And how do I make that system more engaging and try to handle some of these interactivity if we can get to it, or make the system compelling enough on its own in terms of like building the gallery or like taking the pictures or putting things together. Yeah. I was talking about putting the light at the right angle so the shadows match, because that's something that's really pissing me off, but that's just me.
Right. So essentially what Trevor, because obviously the thing is that whilst it was a really good question, Trevor, can't answer everything, especially something like that. He, of course, that's not his job role to figure out licenses, is to essentially, my understanding at least, is to essentially build and help the team also build the NFTs themselves. Having said that, VeVe is not the first, and trust me, this is something I'm a big nerd on. VeVe is not the first company, as many of you may already know, that's trying to build or will want to build a metaverse. Obviously, we've seen that VeVe have actually filed trademarks for a VEVEVERSE. So I want to go over Epic's vision for the VEVEVERSE. Sorry, not for the VEVEVERSE, just for a metaverse in general. And then I want to show you what I think is probably the best way of looking at what a metaverse can look like when a publisher manages to bring different IPs together. So let's quickly read through this. It's not too big, too long, or anything like that. Today, Epic Games announced that it has completed a $1 billion round of funding, which will allow the company to support future growth opportunities. Epic's equity valuation is now $20 28.7 billion. If it's not already obvious to you, by the way, Fortnite, Rocket League, Epic Games Store, House Party, I believe, ArtStation are all owned by Epic Games. Epic Games, in fact, has built and continues to develop the Unreal Engine, which of course, it gets a lot of money from the licensing on that. This round includes an additional $200 million strategic investment from Sony Group Corporation, which builds on the already close relationship between the two companies and reinforces their shared mission to advance the state-of-the-art in technology, entertainment, and socially connected online services. Other investment partners include Appaloosa, all these different ones right here. Epic continues to have only a single class of common stock outstanding, and CEO Tim Sweeney remains the controlling shareholder of the company. We are grateful to our new and existing investors who support our vision for Epic and the metaverse. Their investment will help accelerate our work around building connected social experiences in Fortnite, Rocket League, and Fall Guys, while empowering game developers and creators with the Unreal Engine, Epic Online Services, and the Epic Game Store, said Tim Sweeney, CEO and Epic founder. Epic continues to deliver revolutionary experiences through their array of cutting-edge technologies that supports creators in gaming and across the digital entertainment industry. We are excited to strengthen our collaboration to bring new entertainment experiences to people around the world. I strongly believe that this aligns with our purpose to fill the world with emotion through the power of creative and technology. And honestly, VeVe, I think, is probably one of the first companies that I've come across that has somewhat of a, and I don't want to say it has a similar vision because I haven't spoken with the CEO of VeVe, but from what I'm getting at, essentially they are bringing in multiple IPs the way that Fortnite has. Now, you might not quite understand what I mean by the way Fortnite has, because maybe you're not a fan of Fortnite, nor maybe have you not covered it the way I have. But as gaming is a large part of my full-time job, essentially I'm going to show you something now. It's not going to be the entire thing here, but the full opening event for Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 6 will give you an idea of what we could literally see with VeVe, but from an animation point of view, what we're seeing here could literally be what I think VeVe could make from an NFT point of view, of course, with AR, augmented reality. Let's take a look.
Have your orders. Now get out of there.
I'm gonna do what we should have done from the very start. I'm going to the 7th.
So for those of you who aren't aware, this is Jonesy. This is like the main character for Fortnite. And to give it a little bit more context as well, the creative director, I believe, or creative chief officer at this point, I'm not quite sure, but Donald Mustard essentially has built essentially a storyline that actually works with Batman and Fortnite now. And I feel like I need to show this because it makes so much more sense to show this right now. There is literally a 0-point Batman and Fortnite comic. Of course, this is a limited edition comic book series arriving back in April 20th. But essentially, Fortnite and Batman literally made a comics together, and there's an actual storyline now behind Fortnite and Batman together. Having said that, let's actually watch the trailer.
I'm gonna need that.
And just have a look and see who you might recognize here. Which characters might you recognize from different films, different IPs? Okay, here we go. Here it comes. See who you might notice. Okay, some of you might know this, some of you might not, but... So these are all characters from different films. And they're all playable within Fortnite. Here we have, well, we had God of War Kratos. More film characters, of course. That's, well, you can hear the Hadouken. It's Ryu. Halo right here.
One wipe lets imagination soar, kills 99.9% of bacteria and COVID-19 virus.
There goes nothing. Come on.
Now, I believe that this is the end as far as the metaverse content is concerned. But as for more examples, we have Fortnite's ninja skin right here. We have the marshmallow skin right here, as you'll see soon. We have a skin for Marshmallow. We have a skin for a popular Fortnite streamer, Laserbeam, right here. we quite literally saw not only a skin for Travis Scott, we actually saw an actual concert for Travis Scott where he was literally in, it's difficult to see because of my face cam, but he literally was in the map for Fortnite, and players could have essentially watched the concert whilst Travis Scott essentially dances. You know, he did a full-on performance essentially in space. And so the major point that I'm getting at here is that a lot of what we're seeing from Fortnite, I think, could definitely become an AR experience from mobile, and then eventually however else they want to do it with lenses and stuff. But essentially, VeVe could be the one that pulls all of these different characters together. We could see characters from Disney being in the actual Disney franchise. We could also see characters from Marvel being under Disney and all the other licenses or other subsidiaries, I guess, underneath Disney. We can see stuff from Warner Media, which can of course be DC, Friends, stuff on HBO, looking at Game of Thrones, Westworld, Watchmen, Empire, True Detective, Sopranos. Then we have The Hobbit, we have The Lord of the Rings, we have Looney Tunes, we have Tweety Pie, Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Porky Pig, Roadrunner, Speedy Gonzales, Tasmanian Devil, Willy E. Coyote. And so I believe the general point of this is that essentially we will see, hopefully, we'll be able to see celebrities, we'll see popular IP characters, all of these different things going on in a real world AR at least space. And of course, OMI will likely react to this, at least the stock will, over time. But of course, we have to wait for ECOMI to actually release the information, and of course that will likely happen over time. We're approaching season 2, that's coming up very soon. It seems the current guess around the community is that we're going to see Marvel next, and we could see Pokemon soon after that, and then of course the world is our oyster as far as who else we could see. Once Pokemon, once Marvel is here, how many of these brands are going to want to work with VeVe? Probably quite a lot, considering they're already the top brands. That being said, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, and of course I will be sure to be putting a link to both Jake's video and Hello K's videos right here. Really interesting channels, I love watching them. Definitely interesting information to say the least, even though I am very new to all of this. That being said, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Let me know what your thoughts are on the OMI price right now. Are you holding? Are you not? What's your thoughts on it? Personally, I'm very excited for everything we can see here, hence why I'm making so many videos about it. It's just so damn exciting. I've been very interested in IPs for a long time, seeing Fortnite mush them all together, and now seeing ECOMI, VeVe essentially doing it itself on AR, and then OMI then therefore obviously going through its own thing. But my guess is this is a correction. We'll see, of course, once more announcements come out, once this essentially gets more mainstream attention, which of course there is a marketing plan. Hopefully that will be fully executed nicely. I would imagine it will be based on what we're seeing. But with that being said, let me know what your thoughts are. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.